All right, let's talk about something that's probably been nagging at the back of your mind. We're not going to get into the usual stuff like viruses or phishing emails. No, this is about something much deeper, a kind of ghost in the machine that affects pretty much every single one of us with a smartphone. This is the story of a hidden flaw, one that's been baked into the very foundation of our global mobile network for decades.
So let me ask you something. Have you ever worried about this? Or maybe, and I hope this isn't the case, it's actually happened to you. You do everything right, you know? You don't click on sketchy links, you don't install random apps, and you would never share that 6-digit code that WhatsApp sends you. And yet somehow, you could still get locked out of your own account? How on earth is that even possible? Well, it's not a magic trick. It's a very real and very scary vulnerability.
To really understand this so-called impossible hack, we need to figure out who the culprit is. And the first thing you need to realize is it's probably not where you're looking.
Yeah, you heard me right. It makes no difference if you have the newest iPhone with all the bells and whistles or a super secure Android. It doesn't matter how locked down your apps are. The real weak link here isn't the device in your pocket. It's that invisible worldwide system that connects all of us. So how in the world did we end up here? To get how this hack works, we actually have to jump in a time machine and go way back to a design choice made decades ago. A choice that basically left a backdoor wide open for the whole world to see.
So check this out. Back in the 1970s, when they were building this thing, the only people using the network were a handful of huge national phone companies. You know, AT&T, British Telecom, they all knew each other. It was like a small club. So the entire system was built on a simple handshake deal. And that deep foundational trust is the very same hole that hackers are crawling through today.
And to exploit that trust, you have to speak the network's secret language. And that language is a protocol called SS7. Now, the best way to think about SS7 is like the air traffic control for your phone. It works completely in the background, managing all the logistics, making sure your call connects, finding where your friends are, handling billing. It's the invisible magic that makes everything just work.
And right there, that is the fatal flaw. Because the whole system was built on that old-school small club trust, it doesn't really check IDs at the door. If a command comes in that looks like it's from another phone company, if it's formatted the right way, the network just does what it's told. No questions asked. It just obeys.
So we have this fundamental weakness, blind trust. So let's flip the script for a second. Let's put on our black hat and see exactly how an attacker takes this simple design flaw and turns it into an incredibly powerful weapon.
Okay, so the first thing a hacker needs to do is get a foot in the door of the SS7 network itself. Now, this isn't something you can do from your laptop at a coffee shop. A common method is to hack into a small, less secure mobile carrier, maybe in a country with weaker regulations. Once they're in, they can start sending out their own commands. But honestly, there's a much, much simpler way. They just buy access. I'm not kidding. You're not going to believe this, but there are actual companies that will sell you access to an SS7 gateway. As you can see here, for just a couple $100, you can spy on someone's texts once. For 20 grand, you can get lifetime access. It's become surveillance as a service. It's wild. And once they're inside, the real damage starts. An attacker can just tell the network to forward your calls to their number. They can use location update commands to track your every move in real time. But the most dangerous one, they can just tell the network, hey, from now on, send me a copy of every single text message this person gets. And that includes your password resets, your bank alerts, and yeah, those one-time codes for your WhatsApp, your email, and everything else.
Okay, that was a lot, and I know it's seriously scary stuff. But I promised you we'd talk about solutions. So now, let's talk about what you can actually do to take back control. It's time to build up your defenses, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it.
So here's the most important thing to understand. It all boils down to one simple idea. You've got to move your security off of that vulnerable, old-school phone network and put it onto the devices that you physically control. The whole goal is to make those intercepted text messages totally useless to a hacker.
So if you only do one thing after watching this, please make it this. Stop using SMS for two-factor authentication whenever you possibly can. See, when you get a code by text, it's traveling unprotected over that leaky SS7 network. But when you use an app like Google Authenticator, that code is generated right there on your phone. It never touches the network at all. It's literally the difference between sending your password on a postcard versus locking it in a safe.
And I really want this to sink in, so if you remember one thing, let it be this analogy.
Using SMS for a security code is exactly like writing your password on a postcard and just dropping it in the mail. You're just crossing your fingers and hoping that nobody along the way decides to take a peek. In today's world, you have to assume someone is always trying to look.
Okay, so here is your action plan, your personal security upgrade. First, for WhatsApp, go into your settings right now. Seriously, pause this and do it, and turn on two-step verification. This adds a PIN that only you know, so even if a hacker gets your SMS code, they're still stuck. For everything else, switch to an authenticator app. And for your really critical stuff like your main email, look into getting a physical hardware key. And lastly, make some noise. Call your phone company and ask them flat out, what are you doing to protect me from SS7 attacks?
Now, taking these steps yourself is absolutely critical, but let's be real, this is a huge industry-wide problem. So you have to be asking yourself, why on earth haven't the phone companies fixed this thing after all these years?
Well, the honest truth is it's just incredibly complicated and expensive. Trying to replace SS7 all over the world would be like trying to replace the entire foundation of a massive skyscraper while people are still living and working on the top floor. There are newer, better protocols out there, but getting every single carrier on the planet to make the switch is a multi-billion-dollar project. For a lot of them, it's just cheaper to keep the old broken system running.
And really, this all leads us to one final, really big question. This whole SS7 mess shows us exactly what happens when a system that was built for a small, trusted club suddenly gets scaled up to a global, untrusted world. And it forces us to ask, is the convenience of keeping this old system around really worth the massive insecurity it creates for billions of us? That's a question the entire industry is still trying to figure out, and frankly, it's one we should all be demanding an answer to.